On this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast, we've got Spike and Cordelia. Oh, I mean, we talk about Dawn and Maggie.
Also, wait until you buy my new doormat off of QVC. It says the power of black magic condemns you to suffering and death. The perfect welcome. Let's do this.
Welcome to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. I'm Diana.
And I'm Liz. Feel very bouncy today. It's a side pony. Side ponytails always make you just a bouncier person, I think.
It's true.
Yeah. It's the magic of the side pony.
This week we're going to talk about season 7, episode 5, Shut Up, Dr. Phil.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that just satisfying to say? So, how are things in Diana land?
They're pretty good, pretty good. You know, we had a pretty laid back weekend, but went and saw,
we only saw 17 bands this weekend. You know, it was laid back for us.
I only saw one. I saw Dale Watson, who is just reminded me of what a phenomenal showman he is. And that was super fun with some dear friends of ours.
I have never seen him put on a bad show.
I don't think he can. He's just his personality.
I was thinking about the time that you and I went to go see him, and then I threw up all over the side of your car.
Yeah, that happened too. I've seen him once since then. I was like, was that the last time?
That is the last time I saw him, was when I threw up all over the side of Diana's car.
Yeah, it's just always a good show. So that was super fun. Our night didn't end so fun, but it is what it is. I will stand by one of my ongoing statements, is that I hate thieves and fuck thieves. That's what there we go. But yeah, so other than that, pretty chill. And how about you?
I mean, if there weren't for thieves, I wouldn't have a job. I mean, and yes, like, fuck thieves, like, it's not right to take what isn't yours, but also sometimes I am impressed by criminality. As we will, because maybe it's like witchcraft, I don't know. So, what is going on with me? I don't remember. So I think this weekend I just did, like, a lot of yoga, and then I drank some beers, although I got very, like...
You had a good beer. Which was the
I
new
did.
One?
I had a Heck Boy from Family Business. They were on draft here at the Hoppy Bunk in San Antonio. But this is like it was like no digs, but kind of digs, right? Like, so one, it's very hard for me. I think like maybe it's an ADHD thing, but like if there's a lot of menu choices, like it's really hard for me to be like, this is what I want to eat, right? So like once I narrow it down, I'm like, that's what I need. Right. So I'm like, I would like to I was like, okay, I will start with guacamole and chips. And they're like,
yeah,
well, on brunch, we don't do guacamole and chips. And I'm like,
I want brunch guacamole and chips.
Well, that's just, I was like, okay, whatever. So I'm like, but I was like, nah, they're like, do you want something else? I'm like, maybe, I don't know. Like, it took me a while.
The pressure's on now.
Now I have to I was like, okay, like maybe. And so then I'm sitting there and like drinking beer and talking, and then I noticed like they have this like waffle thing on there that sounds so good, and I was like, okay, let's get that. And I like wave the guy over, and I'm like, hey, can I get like the waffle thing? And he was like, sure. And then he leaves, and then he comes back. He just has this look on his face, and like the friend I was with saw the look on his face first. He was like, oh no. And I just looked at him, and I was just like, get out and go back to the kitchen. And he was like, well, we don't have those waffles, but we have like these cornmeal. And I'm like, no, I don't want the cornmeal waffles. I wanted the
delicious ones.
That I was just like, I will just have more beer.
So liquid brunch.
And so I had a liquid brunch and then went home and like made a salad or something. I don't know what I did, but I just went home to where I had my own choices to eat. And I was like, I knew they would be there. Like, I'm not, unless like the food goes bad, like what's going to be in your fridge.
Yeah.
Although sometimes that's also very disappointing when you're just like, I get very
waiting for something and you open, you're like, oh, I've got that waiting for me. It's gonna be so good, and then you open, it, you're like, damn
it was usually guacamole. Like, I think it's always like we just live or die by whether or not the guacamole's there, if it's good.
I just feel like that or just an avocado. Like I just watched it was a show. Actually, I've started a couple new shows, but one of them there was like a joke about avocados, and it's like they only have a 20-minute window from being like hard as rocks or to overripe. 20 minutes. So
yeah. You are a, I don't know what the word is, like a fickle lover of avocado. Yes. Like you're either great or you're just not. So
I'm gonna mention the two shows because I've got to. Okay. So I'm gonna tell you on Apple TV there's a show called Strange Planet, which is a cartoon based on the comics of this guy that posts. He's got a pretty big following on social media, and Noah Pyle. Yeah, that's what it is. Anyways, super entertaining. It's basically just about like the absurdity of life, and it's kind of from like an alien perspective. And they just use funny words to describe things, like cats are like vibrating creatures, and dogs are moral creatures, and things like that. It's just really entertaining, and it's just joyful. It's positive, nice. So like it's very entertaining and funny. And 30-minute episodes. The other one is we finally started Mrs. Davis on Paramount, and it is about a nun and AI and a mission, and all I've seen is the first episode, and I am fucking in. I know I'm late to the table on that one, but it's all right.
Yeah, I think I watched the first episode, and it was great, and then I didn't go back because I have no attention span. Or just I have shit to do. Although lately this week I have been enjoying a good old fashioned kind of binge, but I can't binge like I used to. So I'm working my way through Criminal Minds.
Oh,
and it's very fun to go back to the beginning. It's like it is like with any like television show that has 15 seasons like this one, and just like
sounds familiar.
But just like the way like languages change, like the way like just things in general portrayed, and like just there is like one of like the FBI agents, like this guy like assaulted somebody, and then she just like shot him dead in the parking lot. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, that just happened? Like, that would never happen today. It's so great. I was like, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I know. So I have been, because Criminal Minds Evolution came out, like, they revamped it. And so there's, like, a fake hacker woman in there who I just think is adorable. So I kind of, like, fell in love with the fake hacker woman. So now I wanted to go see what she was like in the beginning. And so, yeah, that was... Anyways, so let's enough talking about.
Like I need to keep binging. Like I need to keep binging Angel. What?
I don't know. Something may have. I remind.
Could there be a tie-in?
Yeah, there could be a tie-in, and I will repeat. I will pull up a text I sent to somebody today about you. So things that are also happening just in the SPN family world. I will say the Jensen Ackles as Batman rumors are getting kind of hot. Like, so there was somebody who did some fan art of him in like this Batman suit, and he looks, like Batman. Yeah. And frankly, like I still haven't watched the Robert Pattinson one because
it's good.
I can't.
It's dark and long, but it's good.
Like,
he does it well.
It's dark. It's dark and long, and the title of my next sex album. But so I don't even know what a sex album is now. I'm just making up shit too, like Diana's show. So, but anyways, I think it would be interesting. Like Jensen Ackles as Batman would be a very, very interesting choice.
Yeah. And then Padalecki family was just on...
They were on Celebrity Family Feud, and I still haven't watched it.
I haven't either, but I know about it, and I already saw a spoiler, and we've already passed it, so spoiler alert, apparently they did really well. So
yeah. Well, I meant to honestly, I was like, I'll have downtime before we tape tonight, and I'll watch it then. And of course I didn't have any downtime. Wait.
There's never downtime.
There isn't. So this episode was, shut up, Dr. Phil. And I said it was clearly a reference that you are not Dr. Phil. You're not actually a doctor. Please shut the fuck up. So this was season 7, episode 5. It first aired October 21st, 2011. And speaking of Phil's, it was directed by Philip Scriccia, and it was written by the writing team, Brad Buckner and Eugenie Ross-Lemming, who we've not seen since season 1, episode 13, Route 666. And I just think Eugenie Ross-Lemming is just fucking an adorable woman, and I love her writing. So, and when I was like shoving all of our content into AI last week, trying to get it to like write us like copy, and like it never write, like they never understand what we're about. Like apparently they just thought that all we wanted to talk about was this episode. That was all the copies. Like they're just like they're very excited about next week.
That's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
Well, you got me excited about it, and I knew why very early on.
But you didn't know beforehand. So
I did not know beforehand. I didn't cheat.
Okay, good. I'm so proud.
So our recap alludes to witches, of course, our Leviathans, and then Dean's ongoing guilt. And we will see that these are ongoing themes of this episode. So that was a very telling recap this week.
To sum it up, here is this: witches, guilt.
Witches and Leviathan. There we go. So we've got, we start off in a salon, and we got some good like salon music bumping, like good background, but a good beat, like where it's trying to be not elevatory. Sounds like mall music, Mm-hmm. And this woman is super cocky, getting her roots done. Talk about how she's a realtor.
She's getting blonded.
Getting blonded. And they're trying to help this woman sell her ex-husband's house. And she gets put under the blow dryer, and they take her phone away and give her a magazine.
What?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Like, but because I would have chased him down and be like, no. Unless they're trying to be like get, you need to zone out, disconnect, unplug. But I will say that my grandmother had one of these at her house, and I always thought it was cool. But
yeah, the hairdryer's rad.
But
like the one that like pulls down.
Yeah, I always just thought that was like so.
But it has some crazy flip down visor, and that made me uncomfortable.
The whole thing makes me uncomfortable, and I would never sit on it because I'm sweating here in front of this stupid light, and like just in those things, I'm just like gushing. But my new hairstylist, I think I've adopted her as my new one. I don't know. She listens to like Branson and shit while I'm in there, so yeah, good for her. Nice. But she's got, instead of like a pull down hood, she's got like an infrared light that like goes around, and so like you don't like you're still baking your head, but like less this.
Yeah, no, mine has that too. It's like the thing where it just sits behind you, and it kind of moves, and it's just like
like big, so it's like a robot is back there going. They should put googly eyes
slowly
on it,
warming your head.
Like, so it's like I would do that.
Oh my gosh,
that's why you just put googly eyes on everything.
Yes, we should. But this hairdryer has a malfunction, and it's terrifying because she can't lift it off her head. It is cooking her head, and she can't slip out of the seat. Something's holding her in the seat, and nobody notices because this room is separate and has doors that close off to it, but it's got the same music volume. It's a very weird layout for a salon. Either way, by the time salon dude shows back up, Chris, I think his name is, her head is legit fried. Her hair's falling out, and he pulls off the hairdryer.
Yeah, it's super gross, and I love it. I love Chris's scream. I think he does an excellent scream. But also, I love how long they made this. Like this was a long death scene.
They dragged it out,
and I was just like, because when you sit there, it's like because there's no dialogue, right? And so I actually had time to sit and just like watch something instead of frantically typing. So it's just like, oh, it's a wonderful death scene. I think it's so well done.
So we cut to a nicer motel than we often see our brothers in.
I would stay in this motel. Yeah, I would stay there.
I was like, okay. It's like dated, but it looked very nice dated. Does that make sense?
It looks like I wasn't going to get bed bugs.
Correct. And Dean's sleeping and having nightmares about Castiel, about Leviathan, about Sam's hallucinations, and about killing Amy. So he wakes up and checks his beer bottle, which is empty.
Thankfully.
Because that's what you do.
That's gross. And I was like, oh, thank God he's not just drinking old beer. But oh no, I see he just goes straight to whiskey instead.
He's like, fuck it, I'll just drink whiskey at the laptop instead. And we see Sam go on jogging. So Sam's getting into fitness now that he's in his new happy place. And comes inside. And Dean mocks him for jogging, which I mean is fair at first, but also like, hey, somebody's doing their thing.
He's trying to keep him hallucinating. You should be encouraging him to adopt this healthy lifestyle.
Yeah. And so, but then the ongoing joke through this episode is that Dean calls Sam Lance Armstrong, and Sam keeps correcting that that's a cyclist, not a runner. And
America's greatest hero. So, Dean has also, though, he's been searching for freaky accidents.
Freaky accidents, yeah. And finds something in Prosperity, Indiana, where 2 people have had freaky or suspicious deaths. One with the chick getting roasted under the hairdryer, and another guy boiled to death in a hot tub.
Carl. Poor Carl.
Poor Carl.
So, according to, and it was a very long article, so I'll just read you a couple of the sentences that Dean was reading. Carl was unable to get out of the seemingly normally functioning hot tub and was essentially cooked alive inside the hot tub. Investigators, having scoured the crime scene, could find no mechanical failure or other causes for the bizarre accident. Carl's body indicated severe temperature rises, but there was no mechanical justification for the death. Dun, dun, dun. Huh. Oh, and then it also says in there, Dunlop was a local architect who designed small to medium-sized projects. Of note, his City Hall design won the Indiana Architecture Prize 2 years ago. He is survived by his sister and brother-in-law with 3 nephews and a niece. Facts we did not know about Carl.
We learned a lot about Carl. Yeah. We didn't really know him before.
We barely knew you.
Barely knew you, Carl. So we get they're going to go to research these. And Sam first, though, wants to ask, like, hey, like, Dean, what's going on with you? And, of course, Dean just doesn't really want to talk still.
No, and sometimes people just don't want to share their emotions. Even though, like, he's clearly hiding something. Like, sometimes, though, some people just don't want to talk.
Yeah, I know. But Dean probably needs to talk at this point.
Probably. He'd probably be healthier.
Anyways. So, we cut and we see Chet, our good old Leviathan Chet, who likes nacho cheese a lot.
I mean, who doesn't?
I know. I'm saying I can relate to Leviathan Chet.
I mean, I am just happy that I've moved back to the home of Rico's nacho cheese.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, you have.
We should just go by that factory one day and just see what they offer.
Do they do tours?
I don't know. I should find that out. Oh yeah,
sampling tours. Yes, ma'am. So basically, he's got a bag of supplies, and they kind of show us a little peek in his trunk. He's got a day and a half away from the Winchesters. He's got his snack, aka dead dude, in the trunk. But more importantly, we got Sam and Deed arriving in Prosperity, Indiana. And they decide to go talk to Wendy, the girl who died in the salon's older sister. First, Sam talks to her, and she's like, look, she didn't have any enemies. Everybody loved her. She was volunteered, blah, blah, blah.
She just lit up, if this was Dateline, she just lit up a room. That was her Dateline episode. And then she just says, though, that she doesn't think that the architect guy knew her sister, Agent Sambora.
Agent Sambora. All right. So we get a Richie Sambora reference from Bon Jovi. That's our agent today. And, but she's pretty surprised that anybody's investigating this as anything other than an accident. So we move on, and
Dean, I would be okay. So I would be suing a motherfucker, right? Because I wouldn't think it was I would think it was an accident, but I would be like that. Whoever made that shit is paying me a lot of money.
Yeah, for sure. I would have the Diana hairdryer company.
Yes,
that's what happens there. So Dean's at the salon talking to our hairdresser Chris. I don't know if that's the proper word. Is that the word?
Sure. Stylist. We don't know what he does. I mean, he was a colorist, obviously.
I don't know what his license is. I don't know
what his function at the salon is. I know he was blonding, so he's at least a colorist. But I mean, he could also cut hair. We just don't know about Chris.
We didn't get that level of character development about Chris. So he's basically like, yeah, totally impossible for this dryer to do it. It would have shorted and shut itself off. So who knows? But Dean manages to find a old coin on the floor.
Sus. It's always suspicious.
Super sus. So Dean tells Sam about the coin. And while he's doing that, we notice a bench advertising Wendy's real estate company with pots of dead flowers around it, which is kind of sad. And they agree that the coin could be a hex while Dean goes to get more liquor.
Yeah, and it was like, Sam wants a ride, Dean wants more booze.
Yes.
So they're going to, they don't go to, but what?
We see a construction site.
So Diana is very excited about this scene, and there is a reason. So we go to a construction site, and then in this construction site, there is like a new truck, and then there's another truck.
There's an older truck. It's approximately we believe like around a 94 to 96 Ford Flairside, single cab short bed. And I'm now in love with it. And now we're on the mission to find one because I want that truck now. So this is going to be the most expensive episode we've ever done, probably. But moving aside from that, the truck leaves and this man is still there. And he decides to go pop into the porta potty, which hilariously, the name, you know how the porta potties always have a brand on them?
Yep.
This one is BM.
Sure is.
Oh, all right. Yeah. And while he's in the porta potty just trying to pee, not BM, he's trying to pee, the unplugged nail gun.
See, why don't you just pee outside? Like, I don't get this. Like, there's nobody else on that construction site. I would not
never know.
I wouldn't have gone in. If I was a dude, like, I never would have gone in porta potty. Like, that's like isn't that your benefit? Like,
I guess.
Because I put in there he went to poop. Because why else would he have gone in there? But okay, whatever.
Well, he was turned around. Yeah, he was facing forward. That's why I assumed he was peeing. But who knows? So the unplugged nail gun, and I don't know. I mean, they were not. That was an element of the story they were not explicit about. Was his bodily functions in the scene. The unplugged nail gun.
Man, just 12 years old. All right.
The unplugged nail gun starts pressurizing in the back of his truck. And then it pulls itself out on its own volition and is hovering towards the porta potty.
And imagine if it had googly eyes.
It would have been so amazing.
It would just be like a little Muppet. As it was still kind of cute.
It was funny.
I thought it was an adorable little nail gun, just being like,
who's a cute little nail gun? Who's a cute little nail gun? And he knocks on the door, so he opens the door and annoyed, and it just starts shooting at him, which is insane, pinning him to the back of which I'm also like, these must be really long nails. That's another complaint / question mark item. And then it shoots him up until like he's pinned to the back wall, and then it shoots pauses for a minute, and then it shoots both of his eyeballs. That made me want to yak. That was a vomit noise.
See, but if they'd put googly eyes on them instead of nails, then it would have been hilarious. But also, hey, at least a porta potty didn't turn over.
Oh, yeah, that's always a bonus.
It could have been worse.
Yeah, so now our construction site is a crime scene. Ta-da! It's like magic. That's what happens. And we find out that this was the owner of Dewey Stevens Construction, and they are one of the biggest local developers, and once again, a pillar of the community.
Well, what's funny is I had to hear the transcript because when the sheriff is talking about him,
oh my god,
he like lists all these things, and I thought he called him a fruitarian, and it was like that's a bizarre thing for a construction owner to be.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I was like, that's like, is he Krishna? Like what? And then it was like Rotarian. I'm like, oh, Rotarian. It's like
Rotarian.
I've been having this thing with my Irish dude about whether or not you say like you were taking a piss at somebody or taking the piss at somebody. And apparently it's taking the piss, but everybody's accents just make me think they're saying So, Rotarian, not fruitarian.
Well, they can't figure out where the nail gun got plugged in because there's no generator. But guess what? That Dean finds in the porta potty another one of these old fucking coins. Which also, I'm very disappointed. Why are these cops not finding these coins everywhere?
They're just not looking very hard. Or they're probably just like, whatever, that's a coin. Which is probably what I would be like, that's a coin. Okay.
Well, either way. So, as Dean goes inside the construction office, which is basically a portable building like they always are, and Sam tells him, like, well, not everybody likes him. I found a connection. Ta-da! Wendy, the realtor, who's dead. Carl, the architect, who's dead. And our Dewey guy, who is the construction guy, all were working on a shopping center together. And the deal fell apart.
somehow. And so Sam is reading this in their emails. In my brain, all I can think is like, oh, did somebody then hack in and then pose at somebody in the middle of this email thread and take it over? Because I just assume that's what happens next in this story. But it's not.
No.
We just don't know why it fell apart.
But there's one person on this email chain who isn't dead, and that's Dawn Stark. Dean recognizes that name. So we bop downtown. Yeah, we bop. Bop downtown.
We bop. Okay.
And there's standing in front of a bust of Donald Stark.
Yep. And I accidentally wrote John Stark, but I don't know where my brain was going. But then Sam calls out Dean for drinking out of a flask, on the job.
He calls him Bad Santa, and that is hilarious.
That is hilarious. And also, you're not a real agent. Like, you're just two dudes, like, that are pretending to, like, that are committing felonies. And so, like, I think if you, like, anytime you're going to drink while you're committing a felony.
Yeah.
That's the time to drink on the job,
I guess. Well, in the meantime, Bobby has identified one of the coins, and they are old Romanian coins.
Interesting. Okay.
Weird. And all the plants around Dawn's bust are dead, too. Huh. Just like Wendy's bench. Interesting. Oh, wait. Dean wasn't too drunk to be observant of that. Maybe the whiskey's working.
Maybe. Or maybe they're also just visiting my front yard, because that is what the dead plants all out there look like right now. Because it's 125 degrees. So while
we get kind of a pointless scene.
I just have my note to say Leviathan's on his way.
It is. It's a very weird scene. It's just him driving in like his like super generic sedan while See the Funny Little Clown by Bobby Goldsboro plays.
And it is such a weird song to choose, and I don't really know, but I'm just like, he's on his way.
Yeah, I don't know what this means, but he is. Like, that's all I got. I don't know.
Like, they're not, like, it's almost, there should be this tension that's building up from, like, he's coming or something, but, like, nobody cares.
No, it's this weird song about a clown that nobody knows.
Anyways,
people know it, but
yeah.
Anyway. So Sam and Dean go visit good old Dawn Stark.
Shut.
Do you want to talk about it now, or do you want to wait?
I know. Well, my notes didn't say, back in prosperity, in come the boys with shut the fuck up, that Spike, Liz screams and dies. And so, that is.
So we'll hit this a little later, but yes, Dawn Stark is played by the one and only James Marsters, aka Spike.
Which is why now, at that point, Diana, did you realize this is why I love this episode?
Yes, duh.
You're like,
it's actually really fun one.
It's
I mean,
really
not like
fun,
actually, but it's a really fun one.
But
still.
this is like, in my life, this is huge. My world.
I don't want to dissect that. All right, so we've got he acknowledges that he was in business with all these people, that things kind of fell apart. Then his assistant Jenny pops in. She's a cute blonde, and she's running errands, and she made him cupcakes.
Really, this episode really made me want some fucking cupcakes.
Yeah, I always want cupcakes.
It's fair.
But I made cobbler this weekend instead.
Ooh, nice. HEB has like this like almost baked cobbler, like in their the section for meals that you cook at home. So they have like desserts there. So they have like a brookie. So there's like a cookie and a brownie that you can like. So it's par baked. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
And they have that with the cobbler too. And I just think that's nice. So it feels like you have a homemade one, but you didn't actually have to like do shit.
I made mine with frozen blackberries because I had them. So, anyways,
yeah,
it was pretty easy, and it's all gone already because I made it Sunday, and we had it was a small serving one.
Sure. That's fine.
It really was.
Yeah.
But Dean thinks it's super sus that he's got this super cute assistant that is making him cupcakes, which is fair.
Well, they're also very flirty with each other. Like that.
They're very friendly.
They're very friendly. And granted, being a woman in an all male field, I've had co-workers, bosses that I have talked to this way. It probably wasn't appropriate, but but Sam and Dean are like, nah, he's banging her. Yeah.
So Sam's going to go investigate upstairs and he uses the excuse of going to the bathroom. And Dean just tries to keep questioning while this is happening about like, oh, well, Are you that respected? Tell me about rivals, blah, blah, blah. And Don's got all the answers. And Sam snoops around upstairs, realizes that the wife's half of the closet's pretty much empty.
No, the wife's half of a majestic fucking closet that I would stab somebody for. Yes, the felonies that I would be drinking during would be like stabbing somebody for that closet. That was so nice.
It's a good closet. But there's a couple of things, including a broken pair of heels and a box of witchy shit.
What? I kind of feel for the heels. She was moving and she was doing I had to clean out my shit. And she was like, I don't know what the fuck to do with these heels. I'm never going to fix them.
They're staying
I'm never going to fix them. Fuck you, Dawn. You take them.
But yeah, we got a box of witch shit. So down in the office, Don's showing Dean around. He's got his picture with things that meant something very different in 2011 than they do today.
They sure did. She just has a random office tower signed by Trump, and Dean is very impressed. And we're just like, we didn't know. The world was different. But Sam's just like...
Sam has figured some shit out. He pops back down and he's like, yeah, so tell me about you and your wife splitting up.
And I kind of liked how he was just like boom, like it was this very nice burn way. We don't often see this side of his personality.
He was very proud of himself.
I liked it,
and should be. But good old Dawn's trying to play this shit off, it's temporary. She took all her shoes, man. She took all her shoes.
She took her shoes. She ain't coming back.
It's not all of them. It's not temporary.
Yeah, because she doesn't want to have to move that shit back in.
So Dean guesses that it was an affair, and Dawn I admire confident women. Okay, Dawn. But not Jenny. He makes it clear that it's not his assistant. It was a business associate, and so they figured out that it was Wendy. Ding, ding, ding. So Dawn and Wendy had a thing.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't the young blonde. It was, just to be clear, it was the older blonde. It was different. Totally different.
Totally different. Sam so they have to tell Dawn that he needs to be careful, and that he needs to apologize, and that he needs to grovel.
Yeah, he needs to take his wife to dinner and grovel. And you're like, yes, you do. So one of the things that I have noted, when they're leaving the place, that so I noted that he was just like, okay, I know why I noted this, because it grossed me out. Because Sam's like, well, she's just powerful enough, she can just be pissed off, right? And that's why all this stuff is dying.
Make all these plants die, yeah.
And then douchebag Dean, your douchebag meter, Mr. Winchester, has gone on. I haven't had to pull this out in a while, and now it is just off the roof. It's going because you said she was PMSing at it. Go fuck yourself, Mr. Winchester. I'm not dating you anymore. I'm dating Dawn. Okay, so.
But he also does also make a kind of he makes a comparison of whoever Dawn's wife Maggie is to compares Dawn to Darren in Bewitched, that he's oblivious that his wife's a witch. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, but he the reason he liked it was because Nicole Kidman played one of the Bewitched characters, and he wants to fuck a redhead.
Well,
douchebag meter. Meh, meh. That's the sound it makes. It sounds like a cat. I don't know why.
So, I think there's layers of reasons there. So Dean calls Bobby to get Terminex for a witch, and they head to Maggie's. And as they get to Maggie's house, Dean does another little B&E, because they just have no issue with doing these. And the house is basically full of boxes. It's like some house that she I guess just rented or bought.
No, it looks. What do you mean just rented? No, this can happen months later. Months later, you can move into a place and still have those boxes everywhere. There is no judgment on you, ma'am.
Okay, noted. Either way, so he goes in. There's a lot of unpacked boxes, is what I will say. And he finds a mini altar, for lack of a better word.
No, I called it an altar and a literal murder board.
Yeah, it is. It's a
literal murder board.
With candles and herbs and symbols. And funny enough, photographs of Wendy, Carl, Dewey, and wait, who's this? Oh, Jenny's on there. But Jenny ain't dead yet.
Uh-oh.
So that's not good.
No, it's probably not.
So now they've got to go figure that out. And Dean is still like, he thinks this is just further evidence that Dawn and Jenny had a thing, a flare. What was I saying?
A flare. They just had a thing. Diana's thinking about a truck. That is completely what just fucking happened. Diana was thinking about the new truck she wants, and she was just like, flare.
A flare sign. Just start saying flare randomly. So outside, who pulls up to the house while Dean's inside? But a little Porsche. Is this? I think it was a Porsche, right? Porsche.
Yeah, I think it was a Porsche. It was a Porsche with vanity plates.
Yes, and it's Maggie.
And who's she?
Who's this? Do we recognize Maggie? Yes, Maggie is played by the one and only Charisma Carpenter.
Oh my god, it's my favorite boss-ass bitch. It is Cordy or Cordelia, depending on how you want to know her. So now we have not one, but two characters from the Whedonverse who have been in this. And this is not the first time this has happened on the show. In fact, it's happened dozens of times. But sometimes it hasn't, but it has. So, Diana, what we're going to do today is I'm going to quiz you.
Great.
I know, your favorite thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk, I'm going to give you a person, give you an actor's name, and for when we share this along in the YouTube, in 2027, you can follow along there. We'll probably post on our socials as well. So I'm going to give you a picture and a name of an actor. Actress,
got it.
Actor, whatever thespian.
Actor. Yeah.
And you're going to have to determine whether or not they were in Supernatural, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or the show that you have not watched, which is Angel.
Some of it.
You have not. I told her oh damn it, I just lost the thing that I was going to share, so we'll have to see if I can get back to it. So I said to one of my friends earlier, my co-host still hasn't watched Angel, so I can get extra pleasure out of teasing her for that during this whole segment. So, that is, I do value and appreciate your friendship, but I also like the chance to fuck with you.
That's how our friendship works, right?
Isn't how all friendship works, except I lost the fucking slideshow. So let's see if we can get it back, because I went to that text. God, always. So we need to bring it on the front. Yeah, I know how technology works. There we go. All right.
Here we go.
Okay, so there's a very pretty screen there. It has pictures of the title. It's gorgeous. All right, so our first person. This is a picture of the actor Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and he's holding a chicken. I just thought it was a good picture.
It is a good picture of him.
It is.
He looks very handsome.
So, of these shows, which of the three was he in?
Well, we obviously know he's Supernatural, so that's one. Duh. And I don't remember him in Buffy, so I'm going to go with Angel just as a wild guess.
All right, so let's see how Diana fared. So, yes, he was in Supernatural as the world's shittiest dad, John Winchester. And he was in that for many seasons. And he was an angel. So you were correct. Just a process. He played Sam Ryan in season 3, episode 12. Our next actor, Amy Acker. Which of these shows was Miss Amy Acker in?
I'm gonna guess on let's go with Buffy and Supernatural.
So you're correct on the Supernatural. She was in season 1, episode 3. Oh, also to be fair, I did not use any Supernatural. Like if they were in Supernatural, it's up to now. And I haven't gone
right.
Beyond.
Nothing's past.
Nothing beyond.
Yeah.
I'm not that mean.
Thank you.
But she was in season 1, episode 3, Dead in the Water. So going back, and she was not in Buffy. She was Winifred Burkle in Angel, main character, many seasons, until, spoiler alert, she becomes Illyria. But now you have to watch that and figure it out. And
what the fuck?
she becomes this very hot thing. Look at her. She's got like blue hair and like these blue eyes. She's like fucking smoking hot as Illyria. I think just kind of like all women look better with like weird skin colors and hairs like this. I don't know.
Is that what it is?
Maybe. Look at Miss Argentina in Beetlejuice. Look at all the women in the Star Wars Cantina. I don't know. Like, we just kind of look good with tints. Anyways, okay. So that was. So you're like 1 for 75. I don't know. That's our score right now. All right. The next actor, Julie Benz.
Shit. All 3.
You are correct, sir. Okay. So in Supernatural, she was Layla Rourke. That was in season 1, episode 12, Faith. In Buffy, she was in the very first episode of Buffy as Darla. And on Angel, she was also Darla. And look, she was pregnant. And you're probably like, she's a vampire. How is she pregnant? Well, you would know that if you watched Angel, bitch. So go watch fucking Angel.
Noted.
This is all just a giant ploy to get you to finish the series. Okay. Amber Benson.
Supernatural and Buffy.
You are correct. All right. So in Supernatural, we had her in season 2 and season 6 as Lenore, one of our favorite vegetarian, fruitarian vampires. And oh no, damn it! I had an amazing picture of her like macking down with that just may show up, but I had a picture of her like macking down with Allison Hannigan as Willow, like because that was just awesome. So. I know. I fucked up this. I made a slideshow and I fucked it up. Whatever. This isn't my job. All right. So our next actor, Rob Benedict.
Him meeting Peggy.
And I have shown a picture of Rob Benedict meeting our possum, Peggy.
Yes.
And my butt. And my butt.
Oh, yeah. Why not? I'm going to go with Supernatural and Angel.
So actually, he was in, obviously, Supernatural. He was Chuck. Many episodes, but he was in Buffy, not Angel.
Oh shit!
He was the vampire Jape, which is an unfortunate name.
Terrible name.
He was in season 4, episode 17, and he was one of Adam's minions. He was actually supposed to be in another episode, New Moon Rising, which revealed that the hairy demons were part of Adam's test, but that was cut. And I'm kind of sad because I want to know about the hairy demons. But
that's odd. Okay, weird.
All right, so our next actor, Eliza Dushku. Why did I say Dushku? Sorry, Dushku.
Well, I know she's in Buffy, and she's popped up. I think she pops up in Angel. I think I'm just gonna go with those 2 because I haven't seen her here. I don't remember if I did.
You are correct. She was not in Supernatural, but I got a picture of Faith in there doing like a fun little steak thing. She was awesome in that. She was an Angel. She was 6 episodes of that. She also just like her and her husband just donated $7.5 million to a hospital for focusing on substance abuse disorders. Like just. Wow. Baller bitch, like she's a boss lady. So, but she was never in Supernatural.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. Okay, so I think this is our last one. No, it's not. It's not. All right. So Mercedes McNabb.
Supernatural and Buffy.
She was in all 3, which you would know if you'd watch Angel. So she was Lucy in Supernatural. So that was season 3, episode 7, Fresh Blood. So she did play a vampire in this, but a very different.
That's right. I knew that. Damn it.
No, you had Supernatural right. You just didn't get that she was an angel.
Well, I know, but I feel like I would have known that.
That she was Harmony Kendall in Buffy, and if you're following along, I have one of my favorite things where Harmony dressed up as Buffy in order to role play with Spike. Glad that you were open to this in the bedroom, Harmony. Good girlfriend. Although he was a shitty boyfriend. But she does come back in Angel as Harmony, luring Diana in closer. Look at this character that you love. She appears in this season as that show as well. And she's like fucking amazing in Angel. I love her that. All right, so this is the last one. you know, the one of my loves of my life that's not, you know, that's not Spike or Crowley. And that is Mr. Chad Lindbergh, who, if you are in North Carolina, there is a car show, like it's all like Fast and the Furious style, like whatever the fuck you call the modern shit. Like, I don't know. I don't go to those car shows. I go to the old car shows. But the new car shows where things go vroom, they do things in the parking lot. Yeah. He is hosting one of those in North Carolina. I think that's awesome.
Huh.
Yeah. I was going to send it to Dave, but I forgot. But anyway, so Chad Lindbergh.
Oh, we know Supernatural, obviously.
That's right. That's Supernatural. He is obviously my gorgeous, wonderful Mr. Ash.
I don't know. I'm going to say that's it.
No, he was actually in Buffy. He was in season 1 Buffy, like as a tiny, tiny little Chad Lindbergh baby.
Oh my gosh, I would have even recognized him.
Lindbergh baby, and there's a Lindbergh baby reference in this episode that we're watching tonight. Funny. So hilarious. But yeah, he played Dave Kirby in iRobot Eugene, and he has this little earring. If you see the picture, you see that little like dorky fucking earring. Like, oh, it's such a great episode. And he was in that, and then he gets referenced in another one, but that's the only one he's in because I think Moloch eats him. But that was our crossover. But if you go to Supernatural Wiki, they list the crossovers between Supernatural and basically the Whedonverse, and it's a lot, which is kind of to be expected, right? And they're a similar genre, you know, the genres aren't that far apart. Right. I could see the actors, like the age ranges and stuff being similar, and just a lot of the same directors and producers worked on both of them, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But thank you for playing my game.
Yay! I didn't lose, but
Diana's like, of course she kept score, which is why we love Diana. She's competitive.
I mean, I lost like half points.
Okay.
Multiple times. I did pretty good.
I think you did pretty good.
I think pretty much almost everything I got wrong, except for the real obscure one, was angel related. So I'll take it. All right. So now we've met Maggie, and she is. Dean is trying to call her, or call Dean. Sorry, Sam is trying. I can't even talk now. Sam's trying to call Dean to get him the fuck out of the house because he broke in. And of course, like, phones aren't working because that's how it always works, right? When shit's important, you can't get through. So he's trying to like slow her down, and she's like, "Nope, I've got an emergency. Bye. Come back later."
And my notes say, "This is how you don't talk to cops, folks." Applause, because she's just like, "I know my rights. I got shit to go. I don't have time for you, Mr. Federal Agent. I'm going inside." And but Sam's just like, "Well, I gotta do something."
He leans on her car, bounces her car until the alarm goes off. Pretty funny.
It was.
So she's pretty annoyed, but whatevs. It allows Dean to get out of the house. That's what matters.
Yeah, and it is like this whole scene is that so well shot, and our favorite lady who wrote this episode, that was one of her favorite scenes too, was just like watching like the going back and forth between him. Like it reminded me of almost like Hitchcock things, that like you ever look at that old like 1960s like kind of like heist movies, right?
It was very heisty scene.
Yeah,
absolutely. And so they go to leave, and of course now they're going to go try to save Jenny because now they know she's next on the list. But at this point, Maggie goes to check out her altar and realizes that, Jenny's picture's gone. So one of the photos, because she has more apparently.
She's got backup pictures. She's like, oh no,
what the fuck? That she's got to take care of shit. She's mad.
Can you imagine if it was just like one of those, like, I guess this is like 2011, like I guess they still exist, but not the Polaroid ones, but the ones that you would just like print out the pictures like a Flix or something. And she's just like, oh yeah,
watch this, and push the button. That's so funny. So Jenny's baking more cupcakes, which I just find confusing because is that like all she does? I mean, God bless her. I mean, if that's your hobby,
maybe that's her goal, right? Like she's just like working for Mr. Stark to like fund her her way. Like she wants to be a bakery,
she wants to open
or she wants to go to the Food Network or something. Like
that's it.
Yeah,
that's what it is. So but they look a lot like muffins to me, and I'm irritated by this.
Well, they were vanilla cupcakes, and until like
I love a vanilla cupcake. They just look like weird muffins.
Yeah, fair
to me. But
I still want baked goods. I'd eat them. I don't care. I'm like, give me those. So
we do a lot of cutting back and forth now, And this is going to have us with Maggie drawing a bloody sigil on Jenny's face on her picture. While Jenny takes a bite of one of her cupcakes. And I'm like, damn, a cupcake does sound good, right? Except when she takes that bite, well, in the other house, Maggie's doing her incantation, we get blood dripping down Jenny's face. This is so upsetting, this scene. I don't even know. You tell me. You go before.
Okay, so Cordelia is, Maggie, whatever. So what she's saying is she's speaking Romanian. So you can actually pull this, like, and detect the language. Google detects it as Romanian. And it translates to, the power of black magic condemns you to suffering and death.
Wow.
That's so sweet. Just put that on a sampler across, like, can you imagine if I took off, like, the no soliciting sign in the front of my house and just put the power of black magic condemns you to suffering and death? Nobody would ring my fucking doorbell. It would be great. And I think that
I think your Amazon guy might give up on you too. That's the problem.
Or like me more. You don't know. Like, he works for Bezos. He's probably, like, he's not working black magic in the back of his van. He's just like, we all know what Bezos is driven them to. So, but Jenny's cupcakes, like, they're a little bloody. And she had the base of the people who were doing the special effects were just, like, said she was an absolute champ. And that she was just having so much fun, like, with the blood, like, squirting out of her, like, and which I would also be like, yes, like, let me, like, do this. And then, like, this cute little beating heart, like, is...
I'm not gonna lie, I was very confused when they first showed it. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, it's a heart, it's too small, I don't know what's happening.
I would have liked it more if it had been a trickster style heart, like, which if this, I think that also would have been confusing though, because you probably would have thought it was a trickster, but like a Valentine's Day, like, you know, the ones that you ride on.
I don't know.
Like
it was an anatomical
miniature
beating heart.
Which I almost wore tonight. Like, I had a necklace with a black heart on it, but it didn't go with this shirt. So my shirt, by the way, if you're not watching this on video, says Willow in the streets, vampire Willow in the sheets. I did have to hold myself back during the Buffy Angel Supernatural quiz, and I was like, well, I'm gonna put Willow in here. And I'm gonna put her sleeve. It's like, no, Liz, we have a time constraint.
Share the love.
Oh, so I think it was cute until she starts vomiting blood. But she also
she's choking. There's blood everywhere. She realizes it, and she's gagging and suffocating and all the things. But
also,
luckily, Sam and Dean break in.
Yeah, and they made a very specific choice to make the sink that white. So like the blood is just like it's very saturated, which I think this is why it's not scary to me. Like it's so overly saturated that it's cartoony. Yeah,
no, I agree. I agree with that. And I like that about this episode. That's what made it like. That's why made me able to like laugh and enjoy
it's fun
death
horror.
Because it seems really fucked up otherwise.
Yeah, it's fun.
Like, this guy got shot to death with a nail gun.
It's very
shit.
It's very Sam Raimi, like, you know. Like,
yes, I love that, and I love that about it. So they Sam and Dean bust in, and their solution is to search for the coin, find the coin, and then discharge a firearm in the kitchen at the coin.
Sam shoots the coin. He shoots the coin. What? He shoots the coin. I can't.
I mean, it works.
But
what? It's just
how is that the choice?
I don't know. But and then Jenny is rightfully panicking about there were hearts in her cupcake.
She was amazing. Like, this actress, I can't wait till you find out who she is. But like this like scene of her freaking out about the beating hearts. Tiny beating hearts in my cups.
Hearts in my cupcakes. Hearts in my cupcakes.
And just like, and then you see where she like snaps out of like her like freak out and just be like, "Holy shit, what the fuck is going on?" Like, comes about to it. It was just so well. It's just so well done.
It really was. So yeah, and basically they're like, "Yeah, you were hexed, and BT Dub, you probably shouldn't bang Dawn anymore." And she's like, "What the fuck? I'm not banging Dawn."
Ew,
gross.
He's married, which also makes me kind of love her more. She's just like, they couldn't have been like she's old. Mind. She's just like, he's married. Ew.
So we cut to Maggie setting up her auction with her BFF Sue. Well, not BFF, but her current BF.
We think probably. I don't know. At least Sue wants to be the BFF and a lot more. But she's just like.
And I'm just gonna say Maggie's dress is this really pretty blue satin wrap dress, and I would wear it. And I don't wear blue.
I wouldn't wear it,
Not for a
but
reason,
she rocks it. She rocks it. But she's being like boss rich bitch. Like, just like, this is my charity. This is what I do with my time. Like, I'm gonna do paintings. And
and we find out that Sue's the one that ratted out Dawn to Maggie for cheating on her with Wendy.
Yeah, and she may love her too much. One of the things also, like the paintings that are in the galleries, one of the first ones you go with that you see is the supernatural production designer Jerry Wanick and his dog Tula.
Awesome. Love that. Well, Dawn shows up and he wants to talk to Maggie, but Sue intercepts him and tries to like intervene. But he's like, look, no, I'm talking to Maggie. By the way, I've been patient. He like tries to like, I don't know, like make the Wendy thing, blow the Wendy thing off. And like, it's just a really awkward scene and he does not get it.
No, he doesn't get it. He wants her to cool it, like, but it's just like this very, I don't know, it's this wonderful, like, the chemistry between James Marsters and Charisma Carpenter is really great.
Yeah, it's so good.
And I think they gave them really good dialogue, right? And so we get a lot of this back and forth, that's
about the relationship and what's going on in their relationship and all of that.
It's very like I get kind of like in this flavor of like the 1950s, 60s movies. Like,
very like a little over the top, but also very natural at the same time.
Yeah, it was wonderful. It was just so good.
So he mentions that the FBI agents came by, and she's like, "Nope, they're hunters." Oh shit, she knows.
You're a fucking idiot, dude. Like, I know what's up. Like, they're fucking hunters. And then he just like kind of like does like dude shit, and she's just like, you're so cute when you try to tell me what to do. And I love her.
Yeah. And he leaves, and then the face falls off of his bust.
And James Marsters actually had one of those shipped to his house because they had to make many of them. So he was like, I'm keeping one. So somewhere in James Marsters is one of these busts, and that's great.
I like it. So Sam and Dean see like Dawn leaving and see this go down. And luckily Bobby calls then. He's like, I've got instructions to take her out. And we get a cute scene where Dean thinks he can remember things, but he can't. And he has to write it down.
Yep. And so, but also like they're in the car. They're just like working their case. And then like the chemistry like between Sam and Dean right now is like kind of back to normal. Right? Like, we're kind of feeling like this is, like, old school. Like, they're just on a hunt, doing shit.
Yeah. Yep. So now they've got to go do, while Maggie's getting ready for her auction, Dean and Sam are back at the motel. And Dean's eating a whole pie, because of course he is. And Sam shows up with a bag full of unrefrigerated chicken feet.
But the chicken feet have expired because the butcher's fridge has died. And at this point, they said it's almost like, the luck in the town has run out. And so we've got smelly chicken feet, which probably would not stop me from eating the pie. I would just move them to the other side of the room. We've got Sue, like, getting a little handsy with Cordelia / Maggie.
Yeah, and in that, like, first, like, it's pretty funny when Sue puts her hand on Maggie's shoulder and she's like, oh, that reminds me, I need to check on the finger sandwiches. I was like, okay. That's why I started thinking, I'm like, maybe Sue just wants to be BFF. Maybe she's not actually BFF.
No, I was thinking that Sue wants to be more than BFF. Sue wants to take her BFF to another level.
Next level, okay.
That's how I was reading this. But whatever. Either way, she is too much. She is a friend that wants to be more involved. Wants to be more of a friend that you should be sometimes.
Well, now they're going to do a toast of martinis because the auction's about to kick off and everybody's happy. It's going to be a great night. And they've got some martinis with olives on them. But one of Sue's olives is an eyeball, which is very distressing to her, as you can imagine. So she screams very loudly. And we see Dawn is outside grinning in his car. Oh, shit. It's not just that Maggie's a witch. Dawn has some shit going too.
Ooh,
we know.
Ooh, what is happening with this couple? Then the paintings start to melt, which apparently took a while for them to figure out how to do, and they've used crayons for it. And I love the effect. I love that it's not just CGI, but it's also just like, it's just a wonderful effect. It is really good.
Yeah. No, it's fucking rad. And Sue is super confused as to how Dawn would have rigged this whole thing to go down, which is reasonable because, like, in normal world, if you saw a bunch of paintings melt and you're like, wait, he did this to you? How the fuck did he do this? Seems very reasonable. But, you know, she's still like, don't worry, Dawn's a dick. He can't take the people that love you away from you. And then a silver platter flies over and decapitates Sue.
Yep. And I love that, like, Sue, like, you'd also see kind of like the craziness of her going, because you don't really care you don't care that she dies, right? So she's like kind of going into like the single white female thing where she's just like, I told you he's a dick. And then I
didn't think she was that bad. I really don't.
Oh, okay. So maybe you're okay with more clingier women than I am, but no, your friendship shouldn't be this. Okay. So anyways, but I also love just like Dawn's smirk as he drives off. It's a very smirky, but it's just like James Marsters is hot when he smirks. Maybe that's just it. Yeah.
And Maggie's ready for war.
She's pissed. She's pissed.
So Sam and Dean show up to check out the auction. Their cops are there, the coroner's there. They see the body and the melted paintings, and they're like, well, fuck, Dawn's a witch too. Well, shit. So now we've got to go figure this out. So they're going to go to Dawn's house now.
And I'm very disappointed. This was an opportunity for a man-witch joke. You should always make the man-witch joke when you can. Yes.
No. But also, Chet, our Leviathan, is now watching.
He's just watching.
It's not great.
Just watching.
Great. So at Dawn's, Maggie's there. Sam and Dean go in, and they're going to try their spell with chicken feet. It does nothing. There's a poof of smoke and nothing. Apparently, it's because the feet weren't chilled.
Gotta keep those feet chilled. And also, like, it smells really bad. Because obviously now they're rotten chicken feet, but now they're burnt rocket chicken.
Gross. So now Dawn and Maggie are like, fuck it, we're going to kill you because you can't leave alive. So they start doing an incantation together. But Sam's bright idea is now...
spells together.
Couple that spells together. I like it. But Sam's like, whoa, they don't need to kill us. They need marriage counseling.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so Dean's is like, whatever, we'll try talking. And he starts to talk to them, but he just veers off into nipple clamps. And then gets distracted.
He does, he was doing pretty solid at first, and then he veers off to nipple clamps. It was very bizarre.
Yeah, this lesson learned. Like, you can be doing very well, but you veer off to nipple clamps too early, you'll blow your load. Okay, next, moving on. All right, so Sam tries.
And he's able to bring it kind of back on track. But Maggie doesn't love it and is able to shut him up and throw him around. Dean tries to jump in. And save things, and he does good for a second, but then he gets hexed by Dawn. And so it's kind of like this whole thing, like they get a little progress, and then if one crosses either of the witches, they get hexed and like thrown around. But basically, we get to a point where finally Maggie and Dawn are talking. They're yelling at each other about 1492, the Renaissance, and Medici chick.
Tracy and Hepburn. That is what I was trying to think of. That is what this reminds me of. Like, Dawn and Maggie remind me very much of a Spencer Tracy, Katharine Hepburn, like, back and forth.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
So we get a great back and forth, though, with talking about their historical relationship, because they've been together apparently for like 800 years.
Aww.
What?
That's why they also. Sweet.
That's why I thought Sue was just being extra supportive and not necessarily a BFF, because she's a BF. She's a current best friend, but also if you've been alive for 800 years, you've probably had more than one BFF.
She doesn't know. Like, Sue doesn't know that.
But Sue doesn't know that, but Maggie knows it. So that's why Maggie keeps her arms length.
And Maggie's kind of a bitch. But whatever. But she's a boss bitch, right? So, but like this back and forth includes like Dawn throwing 1492 in her face. And she's just like, he was gonna set sail. Like, he could have sailed off the end.
And she mentions the Medici chick. I mean, it's hilarious. It's greatness.
Is it Medici or Medici? I don't. God damn it! Like, we'll go back. But anyways,
I didn't look it up. I just went by sound. So they come around to Jenny, and actually, Dean's like, no. That they actually aren't a thing. They actually aren't a thing, and they're like, oh, okay, well, never mind on that one. But Dean points out that the positive now is that Maggie and Dawn are actually talking. Dean gets himself flinged again, but Dawn throws a swarm of bees around Dean's head. But Dawn and Maggie agree they can't kill each other, and they make out.
It's just like the romance of forever. Where is this Hallmark movie? Dawn says to her, just like, he's right. I couldn't kill you. All I ever wanted is you, Mags. I've been crushing on you since forever. You're the woman that I want to never grow old with. And then it's just so hot. And then she's just like, I could never murder you either. And I just think it is dark romance. And, it's my thing. Like, so I'm just like, oh, hey, Hallmark Channel, here you go. Just shut up and take my money.
Take my money.
Do this. There you go.
Well, back at the motel.
You had to fix the writer's strike first. But so they go back to details. So we go back to our fancy motel.
And Dean's drinking from his flask again with getting judgy eyes from Sam. But at the end of the day now, they just solve shit. Why are you doing that?
I just had a brilliant idea. Do you think they collect points? Like, what was this like to, like, when they go to different motel stays, like, why are they not collecting? Like, why don't they have, like, a chain of hotels?
Because they don't want to be tracked, so they can't.
But they can make up a fraudulent account, right? Like, can you imagine? They should have
you can't check in a different
They
name
should have a titanium status, like, across, all of the platforms. Be using all these points and then just staying off of them. But I saw, like, the next Winchester, like, this is how you do this in the next life. All right. Travel fail
for the Winchesters.
All right. Sorry.
Well, guess who's waiting in their room but Chet, our Leviathan Chet. Well, that's not good. And they don't know who the fuck this guy is though. So Dean tries to shoot him, bleeds black.
Well, he monologues, so he knows they know that he's evil because he does a bit of a monologue.
Well, yeah, but that's about it. And Sam they try to fight him, but Chet's definitely going to win. But then all of a sudden, like, he gets, like, electrocuted or something. And we're all like, WTF, as he collapses. Like, us, Sam and Dean, everybody's like, what the fuck? And Dawn is there. And Dawn shows up. He's like, what is that thing? You just need to drop that in a bottomless pit. That spell only lasts a few days. Well, shit. So why don't they ask him for what the spell is?
I don't know. Like, and maybe he'd probably, I don't know. But it's also just ridiculously hot. Like, so, like, he comes in, he saves the day with, like, his fucking magic. He's like, what the fuck is that? Throw that in the ocean. By the way, I'm also saving you because Maggie wants to kill you too. So I'm saving your life twice because I just saved you from this motherfucker, and now I'm pulling the coins out from under your beds because, well, you tried to kill her, even though everything's fine now. So Dawn takes the coins under their beds and leaves. Our Sam and Dean are just pretty, like, beat up and both just kind of flabbergasted. It's like, what the fuck at this point, which is very reasonable. So Dawn and Maggie just, like, go off into the sunset, and I just have little hearts in my eyes, just, like, popping out. Like, spoiler, they don't ever come back into this. So, like, I just assume they go and live off, like, their hot
keep living
life
in prosperity and doing
for another 800 years. This is the romance that never ends because they never get old or fat. So, well, Sam and Dean are, in the meantime, are loading up their car. Chet's chained up in the back seat, not hidden at all. So I hope they're not stopping anywhere because that's super fucking sus. Yeah, it's fine. Is it? Sure. Well, they're trying to figure out where to put him. And then after they get phone with Bobby, Sam's like, oh, well, let's, we got the Starks to talk to each other, and that helped their relationship. Maybe we should talk. And Dean's like, nope, it's a bunch of crap. Let's talk about our feelings. And Dean still, nope. No. And Sam tells him, though, that something's eating him up. Sam knows that something is eating Dean up, which is true. And we all know it's not just not all of Dean's feelings. We know his feelings are fucked up and broken. It's actually the fucking Amy shit. And we know this. Well, and this is like, at this point, this is where it's becoming like, it was already bad, but now you've been gaslighting Sam worse for a long time because you have this part of your relationship where they keep saying, I know something's wrong. I know something's wrong. And they're like, no, that's in your head. That's in your head. Everything is fine. And that's worse to me almost, right? Yeah. I don't like it. No. And that's it. That's our episode. Yep. He just drives, and he angry drives off too, right? He's like, we're good. Yeah. We're good. And which is the male equivalent of it's fine. It's fine. Are you okay? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So, So do we have a casting count for the remainder of our goodies?
Of course we do. I have to for these, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they deserve it.
Casting couch. It's the casting couch. Were they on that show that time with that guy? La 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 la.
So we have obviously first and foremost our Dawn Stark, and that is played by James Marsters, as we've referenced repeatedly. And that is Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, which we've referenced repeatedly. But also, he's also been in shows or the movie P.S. I Love You. He was John. He was in multiple episodes of Without a Trace. He is Lord Piccolo in the Dragon Ball Evolution film.
Yeah,
and he does a lot of voice work in the Dragon Ball movies.
There was something that got brought up in like the notes for this on the wiki, that when he like does like one of his spell things, that it's like very much like one of his Dragon Ball Z things, and
Weird.
They really wanted to point that out. That there was just like, he loves that character, and I'm like, okay, I did not know that was a thing. Except that's a world I'm not familiar with. And he
was also he did voice work. So the Dragon Ball Evolution film is live action, and then he's done a bunch of voice work on the TV and video games. He was over a dozen episodes of Smallville, and then there's the newer Runaways series. He was a regular character named Victor Stein and Jonah.
He was really good as Victor Stein in Runaways. That was good.
I didn't watch that.
You should watch that too. After you watch Angel.
And then we've got Maggie Stark, was played by Charisma Carpenter, as we've discussed, was Cordelia Chase in Buffy and Angel. She was also in a few episodes of Charmed. She was Kendall Casablancas in the Veronica Mars series. Lacey in the films Expendables and Expendables 2. And then, see her in a couple of episodes, or, sometimes recurring, but not always, but like Lucifer, Criminal Minds, 911, and the new Dynasty series.
I really I feel like Dynasty series is like such a good, like, for her energy, seems like such a great role for her.
Super fit. Yeah. Sue, our friend, was played by Meredith McGeechee. She's been in episodes of Andromeda, The L Word. She was in the film Horns with Daniel Radcliffe, and then a lot of Christmas and Hallmark movies. Then Jenny, our cupcake baker, was played by Lindy Bushy, and that's I wrote her name wrong. I know that. I'm gonna have it wrong. My hand was going.
I was like, my hand got very tired, but she was fucking great, and I love the fact that she's done like. Lindy, she looks like a lady.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to double check my notes, make sure I'm right. But she is in an absurd amount of, not absurd, a phenomenally large amount, let's say that, of Hallmark movies, both Christmas and otherwise.
Just look at her. She looks like she should be in them.
Absolutely. No, not a knock at all. Just a comment. It's just an observation.
Like I said with Charisma, like her energy feels like it's
Cindy Busby. Good Lord. Cindy Busby, that's her name.
Wow, okay, that's very different than
I know. I'm sorry. My pencil broke and it was a thing. So she was also in one episode of Vampire Diaries.
Hooray!
So we got another vampire show tie-in, which I think is pretty epic.
At least I didn't throw that one in there. Like, I could have made it oh my god. Maybe we've got like 7 more seasons. I'm sure we'll show up at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, no, it was a super. You were right. It was a super fun episode. That's it. Yeah. That's what I got this week.
She was great, though. I was like, I really want to like. I just think she was a wonderful actress in this, and it was. I think the ensemble, just overall, was just like it was a great. The cast was fantastic. Like it was just very well acted, very well written, highly enjoyable. Yes. You got to tug on my emotional heartstrings by bringing back actors that I'm obviously very tied to.
Yeah. No, I like it. I agree. It was super fun. It was a combination of, bringing the familiar actors, but they weren't like So they effectively are good actors. So you weren't seeing their other characters, but you just liked them.
Well, I also think it helps that James Marsters is American. So whenever he like drops the English accent, like the terrible English accent that he did at Spike, that's easier to do. But I think just Charisma Carpenter is also just like a good enough actress that she can just be like, yeah. So, but it was their chemistry was great together. I love that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just getting like you said, like super annoyed with Dean about the gaslighty shit. I don't like it.
Dean's a dick. He's still a dick. He's douchebag meaner. It was over.
Off the charts.
I mean, but also like Sam seems fine, and I don't trust that because you can't.
That's true.
Like you can't really go from I'm hallucinating Satan to I'm drinking a kale smoothie and running a 5K every day, and everything is great.
Oh, can't you?
I mean, you can, but typically that's not going to end well.
Reasonable.
You're drinking kale smoothies and running 5Ks every day. It never ends well.
Gross. I like kale and I like smoothies. I don't want a kale smoothie.
No, I really like kale smoothies. I don't ever want to make, like, I've realized I don't have energy to, like, make, like, things in a blender.
It's a lot of work.
It's because, yeah, especially like kale, like you gotta do stem it, then you gotta like put it in there, and then you have to clean the blender, and that's like the worst part. Like if I could just throw things in a blender and then just have like the mess afterwards.
Like they do on the TV where you're just like the whole strawberry or like the whole apple. Nobody does any cutting or prepping. Just throw it in.
And then like my robot maid, like Rosie just comes in. She's like, and like separates things into the compost pile and like and washes the blade of the blender, which is the most ridiculous thing to clean ever. Yeah, because you can't clean it without like cutting yourself or like it's just all right. That's enough about blade blenders. And so next time on our Amazon show, we sponsored by Ninja. Oh wait, that's not this. Okay. So
I wish.
So anything else on this episode?
No. That's all I got.
All right. I think we're going to close it out and say cheers, jerk.
Cheers, bitch.
Devil's Trap Podcast is a Don't Get It production. Meow.
Devil's Trap Podcast is part of the Ship It Studios Podcast Network. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Devil's Trap Podcast, Twitter at Devil's Trap Pod, or you can email us at devilstrap@devilstrappodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe, leave reviews, and share with all your friends. We're at all your favorite podcast outlets and at devilstrappodcast.com. I'm Babe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.